The Galactic Council's mockery. The vast Galactic Council stretched across thousands of light years, bringing together alien civilizations from every corner of the galaxy. It was an elite gathering, held every decade, to discuss the fate of the galaxy, set new rules for trade, and share technological advances, a time when the most advanced and powerful species could flaunt their superiority, boasting about their accomplishments and discussing how weak the lesser races were. Earth was among the newest members to be invited, and they were quickly regarded as nothing more than a primitive and insignificant planet. In the heart of the Galactic Council's massive meeting hall, filled with representatives from over 50 species, Earth's delegate sat in silence. Ambassador Haris Khan, a middle-aged human with short, graying hair and a nervous gaze, was the only one representing Earth. He wore the uniform of the United Earth Federation, a symbol of unity for all of Earth's nations. His presence among the council members felt almost comical. The other members were far more impressive in their appearances. Tall, graceful beings with shimmering scales, insectoid creatures with glowing antennae, and even towering giants of stone stood proudly among the seats. The humans, with their simple clothes and basic technology, seemed small, insignificant in comparison. The council meeting was in full swing. The head of the council, a being named Zorvesh, a tall, slim creature from the Anthrax species, spoke into the council's open chamber. His voice, like silk, echoed across the room. As we discuss the future of galactic expansion, we must address the issues of new species joining our ranks. Earth has recently requested membership in the Galactic Federation, but as many of us know, Earth is far behind in terms of technology and cultural development. It is, in fact, one of the most underdeveloped worlds in the galaxy. There was a murmur of agreement among the council members. Ambassador Khan could feel his heart sink. He was used to the mockery, but it still stung every time. He had spent years trying to prove that Earth could contribute something valuable, something new to the Galactic Council. Yet, all they saw were humans as an insignificant species with outdated technology. Zorvesh continued, "While Earth has produced some noteworthy individuals in history, their technological achievements are laughable at best. They still rely on fossil fuels, have limited space travel capabilities, and their scientific advancements are centuries behind us. It's almost charming, don't you think?" He chuckled lightly, and a few of the other council members joined in, exchanging amused glances. The laughter that followed stung even harder. Ambassador Khan's face flushed, but he tried to maintain his composure. He had heard this kind of talk before. He had seen the way the aliens looked at humans, as if they were children who had yet to understand their place in the universe. The human race, with its dreams of exploring the stars and advancing its technology, seemed almost laughable in the eyes of the galaxy's older, more advanced civilizations. A large insectoid creature from the planet Xanthelia, with glowing blue eyes and translucent wings, spoke up. "Perhaps we should offer Earth a contribution to the Federation, something to boost their pride. A nice, shiny trinket to keep them occupied. A nice little toy to play with while they remain in the Dark Ages. We could provide them with more advanced technology to help them." The creature's voice was sharp, mocking, and the council erupted into laughter again. Ambassador Khan clenched his fists under the table, but he kept his voice steady when it was his turn to speak. "I would like to remind you all that while Earth may not be as technologically advanced as some of the species present here, we have great potential. Our people are resilient, creative, and resourceful. We've made incredible strides in space exploration, medicine, and artificial intelligence. We might not have all the answers, but we are eager to learn, and we ask for a chance, just a chance to prove ourselves." There was a long pause. For a brief moment, it felt as if the room was holding its breath. Then Zorvesh spoke again, his tone soft but condescending. "A chance. Ambassador Khan, what can your people offer us? You are no match for the greatest powers of the galaxy. Your resources are scarce, your technology primitive, and your species unstable. It is your nature to fight wars amongst yourselves. We are not interested in giving chances to planets that cannot even manage their own affairs." The laughter that followed felt like a dagger to Khan's heart. He felt humiliated, small. All the work he had done to get Earth to this point, all the promises he had made to the people of Earth, felt meaningless now. The other species in the room saw humanity as a joke, something to laugh at, a species too naive to even understand how insignificant they truly were in the vastness of the universe. But then something unexpected happened. A faint beep echoed from Khan's personal communicator. It was a message from Earth, something urgent. He excused himself from the meeting hall and retreated to a private chamber. As he read the message, his eyes widened in disbelief. The message was from a young prodigy named Alex, a 10-year-old genius from Earth who had been working on a secret project for months. The message was brief. "I've finished it. The warship. It's ready." Khan's pulse quickened. The words on the screen seemed impossible. A child, barely old enough to understand the weight of what he was saying, had built something incredible, something that could change everything. The message ended with a simple phrase: "They'll see. We're not as weak as they think." Ambassador Khan stood up, his heart pounding in his chest. The room, still filled with mocking laughter, felt miles away. He had just received a sign from Earth that could prove them all wrong. His face was pale, but a spark of hope ignited in his chest. He now had something that no one in the Galactic Council could ignore. A chance to show the galaxy that humanity was far more than they had ever imagined. The child genius's vision. Back on Earth, in a small, dimly lit workshop tucked away in the corner of a city that few even remembered to visit, Alex, a young prodigy, was busy at work. Despite being only 10 years old, Alex's mind worked at a level that could put the brightest scientists and engineers to shame. He had always been fascinated by technology, machines, and the idea of space. While most kids his age were focused on games or sports, Alex spent countless hours dismantling and reassembling broken gadgets, sometimes even building entirely new ones from scrap. What set Alex apart was not just his understanding of technology, it was his drive. He didn't see things the way other people did. He saw potential everywhere, in every machine, every scrap of metal, and in every single idea. When Earth's representatives had been mocked by the Galactic Council, Alex took it personally. He wasn't just a child who saw this as a passing insult. No, to him, this was a challenge, one he was determined to face head-on. His room was cluttered with tools, wires, and scraps of metal. A chalkboard filled with equations and diagrams stretched across one wall, covered in complex designs of starships and propulsion systems. Alex's small desk was buried under blueprints of ships he had been dreaming up since he was 7. But none of that mattered to him now. What mattered was the hum of the machine he had just built, a machine that could change everything. Alex wasn't working alone, however. He had learned quickly that great minds didn't work in isolation. He had secretly formed a small network with a few other brilliant minds from around the world, sharing ideas, resources, and information. They were a hidden team, working quietly in the background, building something that no one expected. Some of them were even aware of the Galactic Council's mockery, but no one, not even Alex, truly realized how far his vision would take them. A new day dawned, and with it, a new challenge. As Alex stood before the machine, he made a decision that would forever alter the course of history. He was going to finish it, the warship. But there was a problem. Despite all his brilliance, Alex was still just a child. He had no resources, no official support, and no way of funding such an enormous project. The machines and parts he had used so far were scraps, leftover bits and pieces from discarded projects, faulty devices, and broken technology. But what others saw as junk, Alex saw as an opportunity. He had been inspired by ancient human designs, long-forgotten blueprints of ships that had once been dreamed of by long-dead scientists. They had been visionary ideas, the foundation for a ship capable of reaching the furthest stars and beyond. But something about these designs didn't sit right with Alex. They were incomplete, imperfect. They didn't work the way they were supposed to. So, Alex began to modify them, bending the laws of physics in ways that had never been attempted. He designed propulsion systems that could defy gravity, energy sources that could power a warship for decades without recharging, and shields that could withstand forces far beyond anything humanity had ever experienced. As Alex toiled away in his workshop, the first glimmer of something amazing began to emerge. A ship, not just any ship, but something beyond imagination. A vessel so large, so powerful, that it could turn the tide of the galactic balance of power. It was a warship built not by the hands of seasoned engineers or advanced aliens, but by the mind of a child who believed in the impossible. Alex's family, while supportive of his interests, had no idea the true scale of his work. To them, he was just a boy who loved to tinker. His parents would often find him in the workshop, covered in grease, with no idea what he had been working on for hours. They simply assumed he was experimenting with more gadgets, playing with ideas that would never amount to anything. But Alex knew. He knew that what he was building was not just a machine. It was the key to showing the galaxy that Earth was not as weak as they thought. It was his answer to the mockery, his way of proving that humans were capable of greatness, even if the rest of the galaxy was too blind to see it. Alex had no doubt that this ship, when finished, would be unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Late one night, after weeks of relentless work, Alex finally completed the core of the warship. It wasn't just a ship. It was a living, breathing entity. Its metallic hull shimmered in the dim light of his workshop, reflecting the hard work, sweat, and countless hours he had poured into it. The ship was alive with energy, pulsing like a heart. Alex smiled to himself as he ran his fingers over the controls. He had done it, but he knew that it wasn't enough to just finish the ship. The world and the galaxy needed to see it. He couldn't let it remain hidden in the shadows of his workshop any longer. He had to show the world what humans were capable of. And he had to do it before the Galactic Council completely dismissed Earth as irrelevant. Alex sent a message to the leaders of Earth's United Nations, explaining what he had built. His message was simple but filled with a quiet, unshakable confidence. I've done it. The warship is ready. It will show them that we are not what they think we are. It's time to prove Earth's worth to the galaxy. He didn't expect anyone to understand, but he knew that someone, somewhere, would have to believe him. After all, how could they not? The ship he had created was beyond anything humanity had ever dreamed of. As the message was sent, Alex's heart raced with anticipation. The warship, now fully powered and ready for launch, was about to be seen by the very same council that had laughed at Earth. And Alex, the child genius, would be the one to show them the true power of humanity. First flight and galactic attention. Alex stood in front of the ship, his hands trembling with excitement. The warship, Eclipse, loomed before him, its sleek metallic surface gleaming under the dim lights of the workshop. It was an incredible sight, far beyond anything Earth had ever built. It looked more like a living creature than a machine, with curved edges and an energy field that hummed faintly around its frame. Alex's heart pounded as he gazed up at the massive vessel. It was ready. But there was something more at stake now than just his dreams. If the eclipse succeeded, Earth's fate would change forever. If it failed, well, Alex wasn't willing to think about failure. Not now. The countdown to launch began, in a hidden underground launch bay. Alex initiated the sequence. The ship's systems powered up with a soft, almost musical hum. The propulsion engines, unlike anything humans had ever seen before, began to glow with a vibrant blue light. The eclipse was alive, its core pulsing with an almost mystical energy. Here we go, Alex whispered to himself, stepping back as the countdown reached 0. The ship lifted off the ground, rising effortlessly into the air. There was no sound, no explosion of energy, just a soft, almost imperceptible motion as the eclipse ascended. It didn't need to use traditional propulsion. It was powered by an entirely new energy source that Alex had tapped into, something beyond the comprehension of modern science. As the Eclipse flew higher, Alex's heart raced. He had just done what no one had thought possible, created a warship capable of flight, powered by a completely new form of energy. And it was working. But the universe had a way of finding out about the most extraordinary things, and it didn't take long for the Eclipse's presence to be detected. Far beyond the solar system, the Galactic Council's advanced scanning systems began to pick up the signature of the energy field that surrounded the eclipse. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered. Too powerful, too sophisticated for a species like Earth. The Council's fleet of ships, equipped with the most advanced sensors in the galaxy, quickly honed in on the source of the energy. The alarm bells rang across the Council's command center. Alert! Unknown energy signature detected coming from Earth, a voice shouted in panic. It's unlike any known technology. We need to investigate immediately. A representative from the Galaveron species, a massive reptilian creature with sharp scales and a cold, calculating mind, narrowed his eyes. It can't be. Earth has no capacity for this. Are we sure? Is it a mistake? No, sir, the technician replied urgently. It's real. It's coming from a location within Earth's atmosphere, and it's escalating rapidly. There's no doubt about it. Someone on Earth has created something far beyond their capabilities. The council members turned to one another, their faces a mix of shock and suspicion. The Galaveron representative tapped his clawed fingers on the table, his mind already racing with possibilities. This is impossible, he muttered. Unless Earth has found some way to steal our technology. But how could they? We've never shared our advanced systems with them. This could be a trap. Across the galaxy, in different parts of the Council, representatives from the different alien species were discussing the anomaly. Some considered it a potential threat. Others saw it as a challenge, eager to see how such a primitive species could have achieved such a feat. One thing was certain. Earth had just become a focal point of the entire galaxy's attention, and not in the way they had hoped. Back on Earth, Alex was already piloting the Eclipse. The ship was far more responsive than he had anticipated. Its advanced AI seemed to understand his every move, adapting to his thoughts as he flew it through the skies. Alex felt as if he were part of the ship itself, the two of them moving together in perfect harmony. Let's take this to the next level, Alex muttered to himself. He increased the ship's speed, sending it hurtling toward the upper atmosphere. As the ship broke through Earth's atmosphere, it ignited a trail of light behind it, a streak of blue energy that was visible from space. The ship ascended higher and higher, its velocity unmatched by anything Earth had ever built. It wasn't just a warship. It was a piece of living, breathing technology. But the Eclipse didn't stop there. Alex engaged the warship's advanced hyperdrive, an experimental feature that allowed it to travel at speeds faster than light. The ship lurched forward, and within seconds, Earth disappeared behind him. Alex was now soaring through the stars, beyond the reach of Earth's atmosphere, far beyond where any human had gone before. The ship's AI adjusted the systems automatically, stabilizing the ship as it shot through space at unimaginable speeds. Alex sat back in the pilot's seat, his mind racing with excitement. He had done it. He had made it possible. But as he gazed out of the cockpit window, he realized that his actions were about to cause an unprecedented shift in galactic politics. The Galactic Council's sensors were now tracking the Eclipse as it moved beyond Earth's orbit, and their worst fears were coming to life. What had been a minor curiosity, an Earthling child building something remarkable, was now something they couldn't ignore. The ship wasn't just powerful. It was proof that Earth had reached a new level of technological prowess, a level that threatened the balance of power in the galaxy. Within moments, a fleet of alien ships, armed to the teeth with weapons and technology far superior to anything Earth could comprehend, was on its way to Earth. The Galactic Council had decided. They would investigate, confront, and perhaps even destroy whatever Alex had created before it could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Alex, however, had no idea that the eyes of the entire galaxy were now fixed on Earth, and that the eclipse was about to be put to the ultimate test. The first flight of the eclipse had drawn the attention of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, and Alex, the boy who had been mocked just days ago, was about to show them that humans were not to be underestimated. Humanity's desperation. The news hit Earth like a shockwave. Across every media channel, from the largest cities to the smallest rural towns, the world was buzzing with the same words: Earth has built a warship. At first, many dismissed it as a hoax. Surely the advanced species of the Galactic Council had been wrong. Earth couldn't have achieved such a feat. But as the days passed and reports began to surface from multiple independent sources, the world started to wake up to the unbelievable truth. The warship Alex had built, the Eclipse, was real, and it was powerful beyond measure. In the world capitals, chaos began to unfold. The leaders of Earth were left scrambling, unsure of how to respond. The United Earth Federation, which had spent years trying to navigate the galaxy and establish peaceful relationships with alien civilizations, now found itself thrust into a precarious position. The Galactic Council's fleet was on its way to Earth, and the threat was undeniable. Ambassador Harris Khan, who had attended the Galactic Council meeting and endured the humiliation of Earth's mockery, was now faced with the weight of representing a planet that had caught the attention of the galaxy, though not in the way he had hoped. He stood in the war room of Earth's headquarters, surrounded by military generals, diplomats, and scientists. Their faces were pale with worry. "We cannot let this escalate," one of the generals said, his voice filled with tension. "The Galactic Council will not hesitate to destroy us if they see the eclipse as a threat. We need to surrender it immediately." "No," Harris Khan interrupted firmly, his hands gripping the table. "We cannot let them dictate our future. Earth has been mocked for too long. This warship, Eclipse, is humanity's symbol of strength. We cannot just hand it over. It will show them that we are not weak, that we will not be treated as second-class citizens any longer." "But what if they attack?" a diplomat asked, her voice trembling. "We cannot face a fleet that advanced." The room fell silent. It was the cold reality of their situation. While Eclipse was powerful, it was a single ship, and Earth had no military might to speak of in comparison to the Galactic Council's fleet. The Council controlled star systems, planets, and technological advancements beyond humanity's wildest dreams. One ship, no matter how incredible, was hardly enough to challenge them. "Alex," Harris Khan murmured to himself. "We must rely on him. He's the only one who can guide us through this. He built Eclipse for a reason." News of Alex's creation had reached the young genius too. Huddled in his workshop, surrounded by machines, tools, and blueprints, Alex's excitement had shifted to anxiety. The Eclipse was a symbol, yes, but it was also a beacon, a shining target for any enemy that chose to attack. He had been building the warship for the past year, never fully understanding the enormity of what he was doing. Now, with the Galactic Council's fleet on its way to Earth, Alex understood what he had created, something that could either save or destroy everything he had ever known. He couldn't do this alone. His mind raced as he thought of ways to enhance the Eclipse, to give Earth a fighting chance. His designs for propulsion systems and energy cores had far exceeded anything humanity had ever dreamed of, but the galaxy was far more dangerous than he had imagined. In an underground bunker deep beneath the mountains, Alex met with Harris Khan. The ambassador had arrived, escorted by Earth's top military commanders, to ask for Alex's help. The fate of the planet rested in his hands. "Alex," Khan began, his voice calm but filled with concern. "You're the only one who can save us now. You've built something that could turn the tide. But the Council will destroy us if we're not careful. We need your help to make sure Eclipse is ready." Alex looked up from his workbench, his face filled with determination. "The Eclipse is ready, Ambassador. But I'm not sure one ship will be enough. We'll need to outthink them, outmaneuver them. The technology I've created is powerful, but it's the way we use it that will matter." Harris Khan nodded, understanding what Alex meant. "Then we'll need your expertise in tactics. Your mind is unlike any other. We'll have to fight not just with firepower, but with strategy. The aliens won't expect a human to be able to think the way they do." Alex's face softened, but there was a fire in his eyes. "They'll be shocked when they see what we can do. We can use their own arrogance against them. They think we're weak. They think we're nothing. But they don't know what we're capable of when we're pushed to the edge." With Alex's guidance, a plan began to take shape. The Eclipse would be humanity's first strike, but it wouldn't be the last. Alex's design for the ship's advanced AI would allow the Eclipse to anticipate enemy movements, adapting faster than any alien ship could react. The ship would be equipped with cloaking technology, making it nearly invisible to the enemy. And most importantly, Alex had developed a new kind of weapon, a powerful energy pulse capable of disabling even the most heavily armored ships in the galaxy. However, time was running out. The Galactic Council's fleet was only days away from reaching Earth's orbit. The pressure was mounting, and the uncertainty was unbearable. Earth's military began to mobilize, readying what few defense systems they had. But the Council's ships were vast, a fleet that could annihilate Earth with a single command. The Warship Eclipse and Alex's technology were all that stood between humanity and destruction. The world held its breath. Across the globe, people gathered around their screens, anxiously waiting for any sign that Earth would survive this encounter. Governments issued messages of hope, but no one knew what would happen next. The Eclipse was their last hope. But would it be enough? In the heart of Earth's military command center, Harris Khan looked at Alex, and the weight of the galaxy pressed on both of their shoulders. "Let's show them what humanity is made of," Alex said, his voice unwavering. With that, the countdown began. Earth was about to make its stand. The fate of the planet rested in the hands of a child who had proven the impossible could become reality. The warship awakens. The moment the Galactic Council's fleet entered Earth's orbit, the tension became unbearable. The news spread like wildfire across the planet. Every screen, every communication network, broadcast the same message. The Galactic Council has arrived. The fleet was vast. Hundreds of alien warships, each more advanced and imposing than anything humanity had ever seen, formed a perfect ring around Earth. Their massive, gleaming hulls reflected the harsh sunlight of space, and their weapon systems, more destructive than anything on Earth's surface, were fully armed and ready. Humanity had only one ship, the Eclipse, but it was their secret weapon. The one chance they had to show the galaxy that Earth would not be cowed. In the underground launch bay, Alex stood by the control panel, his heart racing. The Eclipse was no longer just a ship, it was Earth's hope. The ship had been upgraded with every ounce of Alex's genius, combining human ingenuity and the alien technology he had pieced together. His hands hovered over the controls, knowing that what came next could change everything. The ship was powered by a mysterious energy source, pulsing with life and potential. It wasn't just fast or strong, it was intelligent. "Ready, Alex?" Harris Khan's voice crackled over the comms. Calm, but laced with the weight of what was at stake. "Ready," Alex replied. His voice was steady, but inside, his nerves were a storm. This was it. There was no turning back. With a single command, Alex initiated the launch sequence. The Eclipse's engines roared to life, its anti-gravity fields lifting it smoothly off the ground. It rose higher and higher, the ship's reflective hull shining in the sunlight as it ascended into the atmosphere. For a brief moment, the world below seemed to hold its breath. This was the ship that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. As the Eclipse broke free from Earth's gravity, Alex engaged the hyperdrive. The ship shot forward at unimaginable speeds, disappearing in the blink of an eye from Earth's orbit. To the watching Council fleet, it was as if the ship had simply vanished. What was that? A voice from the Xanthilian fleet captain's ship asked, his antennae twitching in confusion. Did it just disappear? We've lost it from sensors. Another voice replied, panic rising in the tone. It's too fast. The ship has already broken the speed of light. The Galactic Council fleet was shaken. They had never encountered a ship with such technology, and the Eclipse's disappearance was the first signal of just how powerful and unpredictable Earth's creation truly was. The alien ships began scanning frantically, trying to track the human warship, but they were too late. Eclipse reappeared near the center of the enemy fleet, almost as if it had materialized from thin air. Alex grinned. The ship's cloaking systems, one of his most revolutionary designs, had worked flawlessly. The Eclipse was invisible to all forms of scanning technology, making it impossible for the fleet to pinpoint its location. The first strike came without warning. A massive energy pulse shot from the Eclipse's main cannon, a weapon Alex had crafted using the energy core he'd discovered while building the ship. The pulse surged through space, a beam of pure power that instantly disabled a Xanthilian warship. The alien ship's systems short-circuited, its energy shields flickering and fading as it was rendered completely helpless. A silent explosion ruptured its hull, scattering debris into space. The remaining alien ships were stunned. The attack had been quick, efficient, and unlike anything they had ever seen before. The Eclipse didn't even fire traditional weapons. It had tapped into a form of energy that seemed to rewrite the very rules of physics. It wasn't just a weapon. It was an extension of Alex's mind, a product of his brilliance. Impossible! The Galaveron commander shouted, his voice shaking with disbelief. How did a human child build this? It defies every law of technology we know. They've learned how to fight, another commander said, staring at the screen, wide-eyed. And they're fighting back. We need to reconsider our approach. But there was no time for reconsideration. The Eclipse was on the move again, darting between the alien ships at blinding speeds. With each maneuver, it seemed to anticipate the enemy's moves, adapting and countering before the alien fleets could even respond. The Galactic Council fleet, used to overwhelming strength and precision, was caught off guard by the unpredictability of the human ship. Alex's training and genius were showing in full force. With every twist and turn, every pulse fired from the Eclipse, the Council ships began to retreat. The Eclipse was unstoppable. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the world watched in awe. Humanity had no military power to speak of, but this one ship, built by a child, was holding its own against the greatest threat humanity had ever faced. People gathered in cities, watching the skies for any sign of victory. Every news outlet, every communication network was focused on one thing: the battle for Earth's survival. As the Eclipse tore through the alien fleet, more and more Council ships fell. The technology of the Galactic Council, advanced beyond human comprehension, was now being rendered useless by the unorthodox tactics Alex had devised. The aliens could not keep up. Their ships were faster, but they were no match for Alex's ingenuity. For the first time since the Galactic Council had arrived, the humans were no longer the underdogs. They weren't just fighting to survive. They were fighting to win. But the battle was far from over. The Galactic Council was regrouping, their desperation turning into rage. They couldn't allow a single human child to defeat them. And at the heart of the Eclipse, Alex knew that the true test was still to come. "Stay with me, Eclipse," Alex muttered, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside him. "We're not done yet." With the last of the enemy ships in sight, Alex prepared for the final strike. The galaxy had watched Earth be mocked, dismissed as insignificant. But now, Alex was about to show them that humanity wasn't just a footnote in galactic history. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Eclipse wasn't just a ship. It was humanity's declaration to the stars. We are not weak. A child against the galaxy. The Galactic Council's remaining forces were desperate now, retreating and regrouping as they tried to make sense of what had just happened. Earth's Eclipse, a ship built by a mere child, had decimated their fleet with tactics they had never imagined a primitive species could conceive. The attacks from the Eclipse weren't just military strategies. They were like a child's reckless courage mixed with a genius understanding of physics, technology, and combat. But in the midst of this chaos, the Galactic Council wasn't ready to concede defeat. Their pride was too great. The concept of a single human, especially a child, standing up to their might was unthinkable. This was the galaxy they had controlled for millennia. There were legends in every corner of space about how their fleets had crushed rebellions, civilizations, and entire solar systems. But this time, they had encountered something that defied every assumption they had about Earth. "Prepare for the final assault," the Galaveron commander muttered darkly, his reptilian eyes fixed on the holographic map of Earth's orbit. "We've underestimated them long enough." Back on Earth, the Eclipse was floating just outside the planet's atmosphere. Alex, at the helm, had managed to disable most of the Galactic Council's forces, but he knew the worst was yet to come. The remaining ships in the fleet were regrouping, and there were rumors that the Council was about to send something far more dangerous. It wasn't just about defeating them anymore, it was about surviving. The Eclipse's shields, though far more advanced than anything on Earth, were beginning to show signs of strain. The hyperdrive systems had taken a beating after the series of rapid jumps, and the energy reserves were low. But none of this fazed Alex. He had known that this wouldn't be easy, that a single warship could only carry them so far. But he had a plan. "Come on," Alex muttered to himself, fingers flying over the controls. "You've got this." The ship responded as if it were alive, its AI linking directly to his thoughts. For a brief moment, Alex felt a deep connection with the Eclipse, as if he and the ship were one entity. His brilliance had shaped it, his will had brought it to life. But now, it would be put to the ultimate test. The first wave of reinforcements appeared, massive ships with the sleek, menacing curves of advanced alien technology. Each ship seemed to dwarf the Eclipse, its weapon systems locked and ready. They came in a formation, attempting to corner Alex in the vastness of space. "You think I'm cornered?" Alex's voice was low, but a grin tugged at his lips. "You have no idea how I think." The Eclipse vanished into the cloak of darkness surrounding space. Without warning, it reappeared just behind one of the larger vessels, unleashing an energy pulse from the ship's rear cannon. The blast hit with such force that the alien ship's shields flickered briefly before the energy pierced its hull. There was a bright flash, followed by a deafening silence. The ship crumpled like a piece of paper, destroyed in seconds. The remaining ships hesitated. The Galactic Council had expected Eclipse to be a strong but single-use weapon, something that would burn out after a few hits. Instead, they were witnessing something they couldn't comprehend. Humans weren't just using technology. They were adapting it, reshaping it to their will. One of the alien commanders shouted in panic, "They're reading our movements. How are they anticipating us so quickly?" The truth was, Alex had learned to think like the aliens, watching their every maneuver and studying their technology. He could predict their next steps with eerie accuracy. But even that wasn't enough. The Council had sent their most advanced ship, the Infernal Dreadnought, a battle-hardened warship designed to withstand the fiercest of assaults. It was a symbol of the Council's strength, a ship that could wipe out entire planets with its weapons. And now it was headed straight for Earth. Alex's pulse quickened as the Infernal Dreadnought approached, its massive form looming on the sensors. It was an impressive sight. Its surface covered in complex energy shield grids, its weapon systems charged, ready to fire at Earth's only defense. "This is it," Alex muttered, the weight of the moment sinking in. His fingers hovered over the control panel, and the AI of the Eclipse responded instantly. A new weapon, one Alex had barely tested, hummed to life. It was a gamble, but it was all he had left. "Let's show them how humans think," he said, as he engaged the new weapon. A quantum distortion pulse that could destabilize the core systems of even the strongest shields. The Eclipse fired first. The quantum pulse erupted from the ship's core like a wave of energy, breaking apart the very fabric of space around it. The infernal dreadnought's shields began to flicker, flicking on and off as the pulse resonated across the ship. The immense power of the weapon surged through the dreadnought, sending shockwaves across space. For the first time, the Galactic Council's mightiest vessel seemed vulnerable. It wasn't just a ship. They were up against the ingenuity of humanity. A single child had figured out how to bring their greatest weapon to its knees. The infernal dreadnought attempted to retaliate, firing an intense energy blast from its primary cannon. But the Eclipse was already gone, slipping into a warp jump as it weaved around the blast. Alex took a deep breath. It was time for the final play. The ship reappeared behind the dreadnought, as the remaining alien fleet watched helplessly. With a final surge of energy, Alex unleashed the full force of the Eclipse's weaponry. Plasma torpedoes, energy pulses, and quantum disruptors, all focused on the one target. The infernal dreadnought didn't stand a chance. It shattered in a series of fiery explosions, its hull collapsing into itself as the energy from the Eclipse tore it apart. The remaining council ships scattered, no longer sure of their victory, no longer confident in their superior technology. Alex had done it. He had outsmarted them. He had beaten the unbeatable. The Galactic Council, with all its might, was now on the defensive, forced to retreat. Earth's victory was more than a triumph of technology. It was the triumph of human ingenuity, courage, and spirit. The galaxy, for the first time, had learned what humanity was capable of. And no one would ever underestimate Earth again. But Alex knew the fight was far from over. The Eclipse's victory had come at a price, and while the Galactic Council had been pushed back, the true consequences of humanity's rise were yet to be seen. The galaxy had learned one undeniable truth. Humans were no longer just an insignificant race. They were a force to be reckoned with. And Alex, the child who had started it all, knew that this was just the beginning. Earth's triumph and galactic respect. The dust had barely settled as the remnants of the Galactic Council's fleet drifted helplessly in the void of space. Their flagship, the infernal dreadnought, lay in ruins, a testament to the raw power and genius of the human child who had brought it down. The Eclipse, humanity's lone warship, hovered above Earth, its silhouette visible against the backdrop of a bruised sky. The world below was silent, collectively holding its breath as the unthinkable unfolded. It had been a battle for survival. The Galactic Council, who had long viewed Earth as little more than a backwater world, was now retreating. Broken, stunned, and unable to understand how their greatest military force had been so decisively defeated by a single human ship. But for Earth, this wasn't just a victory, it was a turning point. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and humanity had taken its place on the galactic stage. Inside the Eclipse, Alex sat at the helm, his fingers resting lightly on the controls. His face was tired, but his eyes burned with a quiet fire. The battle had been long, and the victory had come at great cost. The ship, though powerful, was severely damaged, its systems strained from the constant barrage of combat. Yet, despite the damage, Alex knew that it had been worth it. Earth had proven itself. "Alex," came the voice of Harris Khan over the comms, his tone somber but filled with gratitude. "We did it. We survived. You've done more than save Earth. You've shown the galaxy that humanity isn't just a footnote in the history of the stars. You've made sure they will never forget us." Alex took a deep breath and turned to the view of Earth through the cockpit's large window. The planet seemed peaceful from this distance, a small blue dot in the vastness of space, yet it was a symbol of everything humanity had fought for. It was a home, one that had just been saved by a child, and a ship no one had thought could exist. But the world was not the only one watching. Far from Earth, the remnants of the Galactic Council's fleet were retreating, but they had not forgotten their defeat. A meeting of the Council was called, and the once strong members of the Federation gathered in their command center, their faces drawn with frustration and disbelief. Zorvash, the leader of the Council, stood at the center of the room, his long limbs tense with rage. The once confident creature was now uncertain, his mind reeling from the unprecedented loss. Around him, other representatives shuffled, their eyes betraying fear and shock. How could this happen? Zorvash hissed. How could a single ship, one created by a mere child, destroy the pride of the Galactic Council? The room fell silent, and it was then that a new voice, calm and composed, spoke up. It was the voice of the Xanthelian commander, who had once dismissed humanity as primitive and irrelevant. "We've underestimated them," the commander said, his voice carrying a rare gravity. "That child, Alex, has done what no other species could have. Eclipse was more than a ship. It was a reflection of the potential humanity holds. We thought they were weak, but we were wrong." Zorvash scowled. "This is not possible. We cannot allow this to stand." "No," the Xanthelian replied quietly. "We must acknowledge their strength. Earth is no longer a mere speck in the galaxy. It is a force, one that can no longer be ignored." It was this sobering realization that began to ripple through the Council. They could no longer treat Earth as an insignificant planet. The eclipse had shattered every preconceived notion about humanity, and while they were unwilling to admit it at first, it became clear that Earth had earned the respect of the galaxy. Back on Earth, the celebrations were bittersweet. The people rejoiced, cheering and waving flags, celebrating a victory they never thought possible. But there was a heaviness in the air too. They had fought a brutal battle, and many had lost their lives in the process. The cost of this war was high, but it had proven that humanity could stand up to the greatest powers the galaxy had to offer. And while the immediate threat had passed, the question remained: what came next? As Earth began to rebuild, leaders and diplomats from every corner of the world gathered in a central meeting hall. The room buzzed with excitement and fear. The eclipse had returned, its war-torn body now docked in the spaceport, a symbol of humanity's triumph.